Donald Trump is a step closer to returning to the White House after winning his fourth primary in a row. The 77-year-old celebrated a resounding victory in South Carolina, beating his only rival for the Republican presidential nomination. But despite losing in her home state, Nikki Haley has vowed to stay in the race.
President Donald J. Trump.
Yet another Trump victory in the race to be presidential candidate. After South Carolina, this has the air of a nomination nailed down.
An even bigger win than we anticipated, and I was just informed that we got double the number of votes that has ever been received in the great state of South Carolina.
It had been a primary contest between Trump and the woman that he once appointed ambassador to the United Nations.
Thanks so much. Good to see you.
Nikki Haley had sharpened her attacks on this leg of the race, calling Donald Trump confused, weak at the knees on Russia, and siding with a dictator in Vladimir Putin. And yet she made limited impression on solid Trump support, but vowed to keep trying.
This week that no matter what happens in South Carolina, I would continue to run for president. I'm a woman of my word.
This was the Conservative Political Action Conference in Washington, D.C. this weekend. The Republican picture today is of a party with a centre of gravity shifted behind Donald Trump. It is his party and his nomination to lose, so close he can touch it. James Matthews, Sky News in Washington.
Yeah, so as we say for Nikki Haley, it's all over Red Rover. Joining us now is Joe Siracusa. He is Curtin University's Dean of Global Future. So what's she hanging out for, Joe?
Oh, good morning, Pete. Well, she's hanging out for a third-party nomination. She'll probably end up running for the No Labels Party, which has been around for about a decade. And we can't laugh this off, Pete. You know, third-party candidates like Abraham Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt started that way. Perot, of course, finished off George H.W. Bush. And we have, of course, Ralph Nader, who finished off Al Gore later on. So, you know, it's a very powerful position that she's in.
So, I mean, there had been a different way of thinking that she was hanging out there to keep her voters away from Donald Trump. And then once she does tap out, that her voters, her supporters would swing in behind Joe Biden. And that could ultimately tip the contest. Are you of that view at all?
No, sir. I like a slightly different view here, Pete, and it goes like this. Let's unpack the numbers. She beat Donald Trump South Carolina primary by 19% among independent voters. Only 7% of the voters are registered as or were independents. So, you know, that's a small number. But in the United States, and this might come as a surprise to your viewers, 27% of Americans sign up for the Republican Party, 27% sign up for the Democratic Party. 46% of Americans regard themselves as independent. Now, she could thrash Trump in the independent thing. She'd become a very serious candidate. And I don't think people who wanted to vote for her are going to vote for either one of the candidates. She's actually said, you know, a pox on both your houses. And I think she'll have the third-party presidential run. And I think she'll be very, very effective. She's made it very clear that Americans are sick and tired of two grumpy old men trying to stay in the White House, or one of them getting back. So I think she's a force to be reckoned with. And look, You know, she didn't look like she was losing Saturday, did she?
So she does not actually. No, seems as though she's got no intention of stepping down. So that third-party contest, I mean, so she could well hang in beyond Super Tuesday.
Oh, yes, sir. The people who are supporting her, and she's got over $200 million so far, don't want to see Donald Trump. That's all. They're no Trumpers. So the money will keep coming in. And I think she will have that support. She reminds me, Pete, of that character in Terminator that keeps coming back after it's melted down. You know, she's just not going away, and she's going to torture these guys right up into the end. You know, and Trump, of course, has got all of his own problems.
Yeah, look, that's what I wanted to get to too, because that is another school of thought that maybe she's just hanging in there, and you know, on the chance that maybe one of those cases goes against Donald Trump that you know, restricts him from going all the way to the White House.
Oh, that's right. If he stumbles, and she'd put on the Republican mantle very, very quickly, as a matter of fact. You know, Trump's got a lot of problems. I heard him speak to the black conservative group. You know, this guy, he would screw up a speech to a university of deaf people. He's absolutely tone deaf, Pete. He just doesn't know who he's talking to most of the time.
Yeah, he's still got so much support though. Joe, we'll have to leave it there. Good to chat though. We'll talk to you soon.